So African footballing flair will be on display for the next months as the African Cup of Nations gets going this weekend in Gabon. They're going to play host to the showpiece for the second time, and this year welcoming 15 teams from across the continent. Sports journalist Neil Gregg now joins us this morning to preview this African showpiece, something that is always a highlight on the footballing calendar, but also to put in perspective Bafana's absence from the competition, disarray in many sporting codes on a national level, but you have to think that this is an opportunity to rebuild. What went wrong for Shakes, first of all? Obviously, losing that top job after a string of bad results. Yes, we know that, but essentially what went wrong, do you think?
How much time do you have on the show? It's a new year. If we start now in Jan, we could have an answer by December.
Positives, man, with a positive spin, yeah.
Well, look, I mean, when he came in, he started with a clean sweep, brought in a whole lot of young players. We were celebrating the fact that it's time for the youth.
Yeah.
So
Should I give you the full rotation?
Maybe no, maybe that was a wrong expectation. But then again, we're South African, we should. So there's always this balance of new coach, new young players, giving the youth a chance. We can't expect to just qualify top 16 teams in Africa. 50-odd nations are qualifying. They can all play football. So you don't just qualify by virtue of...
Just going to pass you a little microphone. I'm going to ask Neil to hand a microphone in there. That's your namesake, Neil, in the studio. There we go. A little bit better. Okay, yeah, sorry, carry on, man, yeah.
So, yeah, it was a tough job, but 16 teams make it to the finals, and there's no guarantee that Shakes and the boys are going to make it.
You know, there are a lot of new players, yes, making a name for themselves, and it always begs that question, are we getting enough support from our local fraternity? Are the clubs grooming those players in the right kind of way? Where do you think this is going to go? Who do you think is going to coach this national team?
It's a difficult question. I was asked who would be my pick, and I go, well, if it's up to me,
names, yeah.
If it's up to me, and I go with my heart, it would be Pitso Mosimane, the man on the screen.
Yeah.
But of course, he's the African, yeah, and he's very, very happy, and he's in a very professional setup. And good luck to him. If you can say, look, I need to keep my club job, it just shows how difficult the national team job is, and it's not the key coaching position anymore.
Yeah, we see it in the major leagues in the UK as well. It's a tough position. People age in those jobs. So looking at Afcon without a Bafana, there are still lots of excitement. A lot of new players being blooded in. Yes, a lot of injury scares. And I would imagine when we speak about the English League, a lot of pressure to get those players away from their clubs. But let's start with the hosts, Gabon, political unrest, issues around infrastructure. Is this just your African rigmarole that we're being fed there to the press, or is this a reality? What do you expect from the tournament hosting?
Well, it's often like that. I mean, you go to these countries and you don't always... you know what fires up the locals and is a bit of drama. This African football is all about drama, a bit of hype. You know, often you find that the rallying cry of the fans and the people really serves to motivate. I think when you're in Africa and you're traveling, you realize that all a team needs and a country's fans need is a little bit of something to play for. Yeah. You know, a little bit of, we want to show the world, we want to maybe even show our president what sport can do to unite. You know, I remember going to Burundi with Bafana back 2004 Nations Cup, and we needed to beat them or draw to qualify. We beat them, scored 2 goals early in the game. When there was a civil war going on, you could hear the mortars and the machine guns in the hills. Wow, that weekend of football, the war stopped. There was no guns, no shelling. When Bafana flew home and the journalists stayed behind, it picked up again. But the respect for football, what it can do for a country is powerful. So for Gabon, you know, they've done well in co-hosting before, and their team certainly surprised. So the second time in that position, I think they'll do okay.
Then very quickly, a favourite to win the tournament. Can we say Senegal? Can we say Ivory Coast? Who are you going to put out there?
I like Senegal. I've always liked them. I think the way that they've had their players not only, you know, they actually command positions in the Premier League. Sadio Mane, Kouyaté and the boys. You'd like to see them win it finally. They've kind of just failed at the last hurdle at the finals, but I think this time they would be the team. I like them with my heart, but I think with my head they've got to be up there.
On paper, they've got to be there. Neil, thank you so much for joining us, my
Only
friend.
A pleasure.
All the best for the new year. Enjoy the tournaments. I'm sure we're going to connect a lot with you over the coming year.
We should.
Thank you for putting such a positive spin on that, man. Football will unite, an opportunity to get behind the continent and some of the best players playing in leagues across the globe as Afcon kicks off in Gabon. Time now to see what's coming up on the show. I think I can see a cousin. Is that a long-lost cousin?